The saloon door creaked open with a groan like a dying man. Wind whipped in behind it, dragging dust across the floorboards. The piano stopped. Boots paused mid-stomp. Glasses stilled at lips. A girl stood there, barefoot, dust on her cheeks, dress tore at the knees. In her arms, a bundled baby with one red sock. She looked up at the man in the corner booth, the one with the brim of his hat low, nursing a single drink like he hated it. "Can you take us, mister?" she asked. The silence cracked like a whip. The bartender stopped polishing. A man coughed and stood to leave, but thought better of it and sank back into his seat. No one said a word. Outside, a woman's cough rasped in the wind. Dry, rattling, nearly gone. The cowboy shifted. His boot tapped twice against the leg of the table. Then he stood, slow and stiff, as though the years had grown heavy. He stepped down from the saloon porch and followed the girl. The sun was cruel, white-hot. The dust clung to his boots. Just past the trough, under the sliver of shade cast by a dying cottonwood, lay the girl's mother. Skin like parchment, lips cracked, eyes rolling beneath fluttering lids. Kneeling beside her, a woman held a water skin to the dying lips. Wore black, silver hair tied back. Strong hands. Calm. Etta Mae Harper. The cowboy paused. He hadn't seen her in years, not since her husband's body was pulled out of a dry well. The woman didn't look up. "She's got fever," she said softly. The mother's eyes fluttered open. Her fingers clawed weakly at Etta's arm. "Boone," she croaked. "Tell her. Boone Laramie. He took everything." Etta leaned close, catching the words like falling embers. The mother's hand fumbled at the baby's blanket, found the child's chest, then slid away. "Still, her name's Clara," the girl said, staring at the cowboy. "And he killed my papa." The cowboy took off his hat. Said nothing. Behind them, someone muttered, "Leave it be. Ain't our trouble." Etta stood. Her voice was flat. "Then whose trouble is it?" No one answered. The wind did, stirring the dust and lifting the mother's hair like a breath. The cowboy looked down at the body, then at the girl. "Where are you from?" The girl pointed west. "Mama said it was called Blessing, but there wasn't no blessing. Just fire and men in blue sashes." Etta turned. Boone's men. One of them wears a blue sash. Seen him outside the livery. The cowboy looked up the street. Far end. Sheriff's office. As if summoned, Boone Laramie rode in. Broad shoulders, long mustache, white duster coat over black pants. He sat tall on a gray gelding, a scattergun across his lap like it belonged there. His eyes scanned the scene. He saw the girl, the baby, the dead woman. He spat. "Town's not a graveyard." "Clean it up," he called out. No one moved. Boone's grin curled. Didn't realize the wind carried in orphans and old bones. Etta met his eyes. She was someone's wife. She ain't now. He looked at the cowboy. "You collecting strays again, mister?" The cowboy didn't answer. Boone wheeled his horse and rode off, boots clapping against stirrups. Silence returned like a fog. Etta lifted the baby in her arms. The little thing stirred, whimpered, then fell silent again. Clara stood, stiff as a fence post. "Are you going to leave us?" Etta looked down at her. "No." The girl looked at the cowboy. "What about you, mister?" He blinked. A crow called somewhere beyond the ridge. He looked down the road Boone had taken, then back to the girl. "Don't rightly know," he said. "Ain't got no place in mind." The girl didn't nod, just stared. He turned away, but his steps were slow. That night, Dry Creek tried to forget. They pushed the woman's body into the ground out past the pasture. No preacher, no words, just the wind. But Etta Harper didn't sleep. She sat in her cabin, baby swaddled beside the fire. Clara curled near her skirts. Lantern glow flickered across the log walls, and Etta opened the floorboards. The trunk beneath was heavy, though she didn't grunt as she lifted the lid. Inside, a faded green bandana, a silver-buckled gun belt, a worn photograph of a man with soft eyes and a crooked smile, and a revolver, ivory-handled, long barrel, still clean. She held it like it was part of her hand, not reverent, not afraid. From the firelight, Clara stirred. "Is that yours?" Etta looked at her. It was. Clara sat up. "You gonna shoot the man who hurt my mama?" The fire popped. Etta looked back at the gun, spun the chamber once, and clicked it shut. Only if you don't see what's coming, she said. Then she blew out the lantern. The wind howled outside, but inside it was silent, except for the click of a revolver slipping back into leather after too long in the dark. The sheriff's door creaked open. Etta Mae Harper stepped inside with a fresh-baked pie wrapped in a faded towel. Her boots left clean, deliberate prints on the dusty wood floor. Boone Laramie leaned back in his chair, boots on the desk, a toothpick between his lips. Behind him, a wanted poster curled at the edges, some bandit long dead or forgotten. Well now, Boone said, sitting up. Didn't expect a pie from the widow Harper. She set it down on his desk. Blackberry. Boone narrowed one eye. You baking for the law now? I'm baking for Clara, she said. She's been scared. I thought peace might sweeten her sleep. Boone grinned. Sweeten peace? That's a new one. He poked a finger into the crust, tasted. Damn, that's good. Etta's eyes didn't leave him. Who was she? Boone paused, licking his fingers. Who? The woman. Clara's mama. You knew her. Boone leaned back again. Lots of folks pass through. I don't ask for names, especially when they come crying about men who ain't here no more. Etta nodded once. Well, thank you for tasting. She turned. Boone called after her. You bake like that for your dead husband too? She didn't stop. The door shut behind her without a sound. That night, Etta visited the old preacher's barn, empty since the drought took his flock and sent him east. Inside, under spider-thick rafters and silence, she practiced. A candle burned low on a barrel. She stood 10 paces from a row of rusted horseshoes nailed to a post. She drew fast, fired, reloaded, fired again. Each shot cracked like thunder through the empty dark. Each shot found iron. Outside, someone watched. The cowboy. He leaned against the frame, arms crossed, saying nothing. His face shadowed. I thought you quit, he said finally. Etta holstered the pistol without looking at him. I did. He stepped forward. Boone's a wild dog now. Got no leash. No law. You stir him up, he'll burn everything you care about. I'm not stirring. What do you call this? She looked at him. Quiet war. The cowboy sighed. Town scared. Good. She picked up a small box from the hay, filled with trinkets. A silver spur. A feather. A poker chip. Old names remember old signs, she said. Time some folks remembered who they're praying doesn't ride back into town. 2 days later, Boone's man, Riggs, found a spur nailed to the post outside his shack. 3 hours after that, Riggs was found face down in a water trough. Not drowned, shot clean through the heart. Boone paced the sheriff's office like a pen bull. Someone's playing games, he growled. A second man, Clyde Rourke, found a feather on his saddle. 2 nights later, he vanished. No trace. Not even his boots. Boone kicked open the doors to the saloon. I want names, he shouted. I want tongues. Someone's hunting my men, and I ain't Logan. No one spoke. Only the piano answered, slowly dying into silence. Etta was already gone before he came in. She stood at the edge of the graveyard, arms folded. Clara sat beside the baby, humming a lullaby. You're making folks scared, Clara said. Etta nodded. They say you used to be someone. Etta looked at her. Everyone used to be someone. Clara picked up a rock and scratched the name on the wooden grave marker. Was your husband nice? Yes. Did Boone kill him? Etta didn't answer. That night, the cowboy sat on her porch, sipping from a cracked tin cup. You think this ends the way you want? He asked. Etta rocked slowly beside him. Her voice was soft. Don't matter. He stared at the stars. You know they still talk about you? In Abilene. Santa Fe. One man said he watched you shoot 2 brothers with 1 bullet. I missed that 3rd one, she said. He chuckled. Boone's gonna come hard now. I'm counting on it. Morning. Boone's horse clattered down Main Street, dust churning like a storm. He stopped outside at his gate, shotgun across his saddle. Widow, he called out. Tommy had a real talk. Etta stepped onto the porch. Clara stood behind her, clutching the baby tight. Boone grinned. You're poking at hornets. I ain't in the mood to get stung. Then stop stealing honey, she said. He pointed the shotgun at her. This ain't a warning. Etta didn't flinch. You want the house? Burn it. You want the girl? Come take her. Boone's grin dropped. You think you're scary? She stepped forward. I don't need to be scary. I just need you to bleed. Boone stared a moment longer. Then he wheeled the horse and rode off, spitting into the dust. That night, the town held its breath. 3 fires burned in the hills, signals. Boone's men were gathering. Etta polished the revolver slowly by lantern light. She pulled the hammer back, then let it down. Pulled it back again. Her hands never trembled. The cowboy sat across the table. You ever think of just leaving? She looked at him. Left once. Didn't help. He nodded. Then I guess we see it through. She offered him a second revolver. He looked at it, then at her. I never thought I'd be fighting beside the devil herself. She smiled faintly. That makes 2 of us. Somewhere in the dark, a baby cried. Somewhere in the hills, guns loaded. And in the heart of Dry Creek, an old ghost stood at the edge of war, quiet, steady, and unafraid. The street cleared at noon. Doors slammed. Curtains twitched. Boots shuffled backward into shadow. The air was hot and brittle, the kind that cracked lips and warped wood. Even the horses had gone quiet. Etta Mae Harper stepped out of her cabin with a black hat pulled low, silver-handled Colt at her hip, and fire in her bones. She walked with the kind of calm that made strong men forget how to breathe. Her boots touched dust that hadn't been walked since the last duel Dry Creek buried. She didn't speak. Didn't need to. Boone's men were already waiting. 3 of them stood outside the sheriff's office, rifles slung, grinning like they were born to kill. Behind them, Boone himself stood tall in the doorway, arms crossed, shotgun cradled like a viper. But it wasn't Boone she looked at. It was Clara. She stood on the boardwalk, a rope around her wrists, dirt on her cheeks, fear in her eyes. Afternoon, Boone called out. I figured if you're going to stir up a war, might as well bring your own funeral. Etta stopped in the center of the street. No twitch, no tremble. You let the girl go, she said, or the hole they dig for me'll have room for 5. Boone laughed. You're old, Harper. Too old to be chasing ghosts from a past that already buried you. She said nothing. One of the men, lanky, sideburns like rusted wire, stepped forward, rifle raised. She drew. 1 shot. He dropped, still smiling, didn't even have time to understand. The street exploded. Boone's other men raised their guns too late. Etta's second shot found the kneecap of the one on the left. He screamed and fell, crawling into the dust. The third tried to run, didn't make it past 2 steps. Then came the shotgun blast. It tore splinters from the rail post beside her. She rolled behind the water trough, reloading fast and blind. Another shot rang out, not hers. From the edge of the livery, the cowboy stepped into view, rifle steady against his shoulder. He fired once. Boone's scattergun flew from his hands. Boone cursed and ducked back inside the office, dragging Clara by the arm. The cowboy limped forward, rifle low. Didn't say I'd stay out of it, he muttered. Etta nodded once. Together, they approached the office, boots crunching on glass and broken pride. Inside, Boone held Clara close with one arm, revolver to her head. His eyes burned. You think you're heroes now? He spat. You think this town will remember you as anything but fools in the dirt? Etta stepped through the shattered doorway. I ain't looking to be remembered. Boone pressed the gun harder to Clara's temple. One more step and she dies. The cowboy raised both hands, voice low. Easy. Ain't no need for more blood. Boone's finger tightened. Etta looked at Clara. Calm. Clear. Drop your shoulder, she said. The girl obeyed, sharp and sudden. Boone's aim wavered, and Etta fired. The bullet ripped through his wrist. He howled, dropped the gun, and grabbed the wound, but she was already moving. She kicked him hard in the chest. He staggered, crashed through the chair behind him, gasping. The cowboy caught Clara, pulled her back, shielding her with his coat. Boone reached for his second pistol on his belt, too slow. Etta's boot came down on his hand. Hard. You killed her mama, she said. You torture home. You laughed at the bones. Boone wheezed through clenched teeth. She was nothing, just another mouth. Etta's fist cut off the rest. He slumped. Clara stared wide-eyed. Etta holstered her gun. Boone lay still, bleeding but alive. Should we finish it? The cowboy asked, wincing. Blood dripped from a crease in his shoulder. Etta looked down at Boone, broken, bruised, moaning. No, she said. Let the town see what's left of him. Outside, folks were gathering. First a boy, then the barkeep, then the blacksmith's wife. Quiet, slow, stepping into the street with wide eyes and clenched jaws. They looked past Etta and the cowboy and stared at the bleeding man dragged into the light. Boone groaned, barely conscious. Etta turned to them. "This your lawman?" she asked. No one spoke. Then someone muttered, "He ain't now." Boone whimpered something, but no one listened. The crowd moved in, quiet and cold. Etta picked up the baby from Clara's arms and stepped back. The cowboy limped beside her, sweat on his brow, hand clamped to the wound. Clara followed, wiping her face with a sleeve. They didn't say a word. Behind them, Boone's screams faded into silence, and the wind shifted. Boot prints in the dust. A trail heading west. Fresh. Smoke still curled from the wreckage of Boone's reign. The jail door hung open, its lock shattered. A badge lay in the dirt, twisted and blackened by fire. She was gone. No goodbyes. No farewell. Just a trail. And a whisper. The cowboy sat on the edge of the porch, blood crusted on his shirt, a sling around his arm. Clara stood beside him, holding the baby, quiet as a stone. "She didn't say nothing?" he asked. Clara shook her head, just packed what little she had, left before sunrise. The wind lifted the brim of his hat. He squinted toward the horizon. The sun was already climbing, hot and bright. "Smart," he muttered, before anyone got the idea to make her a hero. The girl held the baby tighter. "Is she coming back?" The cowboy looked down at the badge in the dust, picked it up, turned it over. The back had a word etched into it, "Forgiven." He handed it to Clara. "No," he said. "She already did what she came to do." 3 weeks later, Boone Laramie's body turned up in Buzzard's Gap. Shot clean through the eye, buried up to the waist in the canyon dirt, arms spread like a broken cross. No law came looking. No one asked questions. The town of Dry Creek changed. The saloon reopened. A schoolhouse was built. They painted the jail white. Claire started reading stories to the baby under the cottonwood tree. The cowboy stayed, tended the horses, fixed wagons, limped through town like he belonged. But Etta Mae Harper was never seen again. Some said she rode south, joined the Mexican rebels. Others swore they saw her in Colorado, teaching women how to shoot. A man in Kansas claimed she saved his daughter from a gang, then vanished before dawn. No one knew the truth, but the stories grew. One night, in the middle of a lightning storm, a drunk old ranch hand swore he saw her riding the ridgeline, long coat whipping behind her like a shadow made of dust. Another time, a drifter walked into town with a feather in his hat, and a bullet wound through his ear. Said he tried to rob a black-clad woman near Widow's Pass, and she sent him back with a warning. "Tell him the devil rides west." Years later, a storyteller sat by the fire in the rebuilt saloon. Voice low, eyes sharp despite the gray in his beard. "You ever hear about the day Dry Creek found its soul again?" he asked. Wasn't no marshal. Wasn't no preacher. It was a widow. A ghost. A woman with quiet hands and a louder gun. He leaned in close, voice nearly a whisper now. "They say she was death in a dress. They say she could shoot the wings off a hawk mid-flight. But what I remember most, she didn't do it for revenge. Not really. She did it 'cause a little girl looked up and asked her one simple question." The fire cracked. "Can you take us, mister?" He smiled, drank deep from his glass. "Turns out the devil ain't always a man. And sometimes justice wears a braid." Outside, the wind howled, and somewhere beyond the hills, hoofbeats echoed once and faded into legend.